A soft chuckle followed. "Don't worry, friend. I won't tell your secret. But really, how were you able to get the fish out of the water?" He finished the question with a big smile that lit up his entire face. Orion smiled back and said, "Is that so? Then here you go. Here's what happened. In Betelgeuse, there's a river that demons are strictly forbidden to approach. We're not even allowed to touch its water. We've always been told that any demon who enters the river never comes back. They're assumed to drown, and no one dares take the risk. So it was a well-known rule among us to avoid that river at all costs." He paused before continuing. "One day, I was wandering nearby, and as I walked, I realized I was getting closer to the river. But strangely, I didn't feel the usual urge to stay away. Instead, I felt curious, drawn to examine this forbidden river myself. As I got closer, I was struck by how beautiful the water was. It shimmered in shades of deep blue and turquoise. So mesmerizing, I felt an overwhelming urge to drink it." JS interrupted. "Like Arf's eyes." Orion looked at Arf's, whose face turned away, clearly embarrassed. Lillian gently scolded JS not to interrupt, then asked Orion to continue. "Yeah, now that you mention it, they're the same color," Orion said. "Anyway, I felt weak, like I had no control over my body, almost as if I was under a spell. I knelt down to taste the water, and suddenly I found myself drowning. No one pushed me. I just fell in, pulled by some mysterious force. I couldn't scream for help. I didn't even try. I simply watched as the water consumed me, offering no resistance." His voice lowered. I was sinking slowly, fully submerged and strangely calm. I knew I was drowning, but I couldn't move. Eventually, as I began to lose consciousness, I saw a huge serpent speeding toward me. It coiled around me, pulled me out of the river, and carried me away. At that point, I still couldn't breathe. My lungs felt crushed. Then the serpent transformed into its true form, an Asuras. Arfs gasped and interrupted. "An Asuras? So that's how you got saved?" Lillian, annoyed again, hushed him, and Orion went on. "Yes, the Asuras who saved me told me to breathe, but I couldn't. I could hear him, but my body wouldn't respond. Then he covered my eyes, and I saw nothing. I felt something placed in my mouth, and his hands shaking my jaw, trying to make me swallow whatever it was. Within seconds, I regained partial ability to breathe, but it wasn't normal. It felt like my lungs had shrunk. That's when I noticed my tattoos were fading. My wings were dissolving, and even my horns vanished. My teeth were becoming less sharp. My body was weakening and transforming. I stood up in shock, looking at the Asuras with a mix of gratitude and fear. I asked him, "What happened to me?" He said, "Thank goodness you're alive. There was no way to save you unless I turned you into a human, and I barely made it in time." I asked him, "What's a human?" I'd never heard the word before. He told me humans look like I did now, and they can't survive without water. I asked him if I could return to my demon form, and he said yes. But it would take time to learn how to shift between the two, as they are naturally opposed. He smiled and said, "From now on, you can use your human form to swim in the Forbidden River. But this is our secret. Never tell anyone. I never saw the Asuras again. I searched everywhere to thank him, but he was gone without a trace." JS leaned forward and asked, "So how did you learn to shift between the two forms?" Orion answered, After he disappeared, I felt an inner urge. A need to shift into my smoke form. As a demon, I've always been able to turn into smoke easily. I did it then, and that allowed me to shift back into my demon form. Somehow, the smoke became the bridge between both forms. He added thoughtfully, "Water has steam, and fire has smoke. Maybe that's why smoke helped me return." Since then, I've been able to shift between the two forms. Lillian asked, "Do any other demons have this ability?" Orion shook his head. "No, none that I know of. Just me."